Đây là đài truyền hình SBTN Texas. Hiền Nhi xin kính chào quý khán giả. Kính thưa quý vị, chương trình của chúng tôi ngày hôm nay xin được gửi đến quý vị chương trình phỏng vấn đặc biệt. Xin mời quý vị cùng theo dõi buổi phỏng vấn cùng với ông đạo diễn Fred Koster của bộ phim Through Our Eyes sẽ được trình chiếu sắp tới đây. Chương trình do Phan Quang Trọng thực hiện. Xin kính mời quý vị cùng theo dõi sau đây.
How the world and future generations remember South Vietnam depends on us. We have two choices. The first is for the South Vietnamese to tell their own story. The second is to continue letting people like Ken Burns and John Kerry tell the wrong history of the South Vietnamese people.
I think the Vietnamese people hate us, and you can sense this, you can hear it. One of them, I turned to him and I said, what would be the best thing that we could do for you? And he said, go home. And I think this is an attitude that does. I turned to one and I said, well, fine, you've got to go in there and fight because it's your country. And he said, no.
Most of the 2 million men that you often hear quoted under arms, most of whom are regional popular reconnaissance forces, which is to say a militia, and a very poor militia at that, will simply lay down their arms, if they haven't done so already, and not fight. I can cite many, many instances, sir, when, as in combat, when these men refused to fight with us, when we were taken under fire, we Americans supposedly fighting with them, and pinned down in a ditch, and they'd refuse to come in to help us. Point blank refuse. I don't believe they want to fight, sir.
Among the many omissions in Ken Burns' 18-hour Vietnam War series, he refused to tell the story of the millions of Vietnamese refugees, or the 250,000 boat people who died trying to escape, or the 1 million people imprisoned in re-education camps. Nor did he show the victories and heroism of the South Vietnamese military. Why did Burns refuse to show this broadcast announcing a great South Vietnamese victory?
First and simplest, the Viet Cong suffered a military defeat. Its missions proved suicidal. If they intended to stay in the cities as a negotiating point, they failed at that. The Vietnamese army reacted better than even its most ardent supporters had anticipated. There were no defections from its ranks, as the Viet Cong apparently had expected, and the people did not rise to support the Viet Cong as they also were believed to have expected.
There are those who want to rewrite history, to say the South Vietnamese wanted communism, and that the country of South Vietnam never existed.
I think something like 12,000 South Vietnamese soldiers desert every month. So if they're doing that, they're very successful. But the other side, the National Liberation Front, they know why they're fighting. That's why they've been fighting so well for so long. I mean, it's a people's war. It's truly a war of the people, by the people, and for the people.
It's time for the South Vietnamese to tell their own history. Help us tell the world the truth, Vietnam War. Help us tell the world the truth of the Vietnam War.
Kính thưa quý vị, chúng tôi rất hân hạnh giới thiệu đến quý vị ông đạo diễn Fred Koster, là một trong những vị đạo diễn đã từng làm cuốn phim Ride the Thunder.
Long live Ho Chi Minh!
Long live Ho Chi Minh!
Long live Ho Chi Minh!
Still show no gratitude!
That is exactly what they want us to do, fighting among each other.
You listen to me. Look at me.
I don't want to go home in a box.
There are 700 of us, Ripley. There are probably about 20,000 communists over the river.
But if we can hold a bridge, we can defend Dong Ha.
My order is to hold Dong Ha. We will fight in Dong Ha, and we will die in Dong Ha.
Và lần này ông làm cái cuốn phim thứ hai về chiến tranh Việt Nam gọi là Through Our Eyes, có nghĩa là cuộc chiến Việt Nam qua ánh mắt của chúng ta. Thưa quý vị, ông Koster đã từng đến thành phố Đà Lạt nhiều lần và ông sẽ đến với chúng ta vào ngày 24 tháng 3. Nhưng mà hôm nay, sau khi nhiều lần chúng tôi interview ông ở trên Radio lần này chúng tôi lại mời ông lên chương trình SPTN để chúng ta cùng trò chuyện với ông về cuốn phim sắp tới. Hello Fred, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's great to see you, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, that's great. I'm so excited every time I talk to you because we follow the film and I receive a lot of questions from folks, about what are you doing in this film. And one of the first questions is people is so excited because you make Ride the Thunder, right?
Long live Ho Chi Minh! Long live Ho Chi Minh! Long live Ho Chi Minh! Still show no gratitude! That is exactly what they want us to do. Fighting among each other.
You listen to me. Look at me.
I don't want to go home in a box.
Yeah.
My order is to hold Dong Ha. We will fight in Dong Ha, and we will die in Dong Ha.
And now, within a short time, you're ready to make another better and bigger movies.
Help us tell the world the truth of the Vietnam War. It's time for the South Vietnamese to tell their own history. Help us tell the world the truth of the Vietnam War.
So when did you decide to get into this critical project, and why?
Well, first of all, I want everyone to know Ride to Thunder was the beginning of telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So with this film project, now we're going much more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, it's a really exciting project. There's a lot of passionate people involved. We got a wonderful group of people that's diverse. And so, yeah, this is an incredible project. And I guess, Tron, what I really am excited about as a filmmaker, this is a story that has never been told. And it's a story, as you know, it's a very tragic story. But it's also a very inspiring story of the Vietnamese people and how they overcame just incredible hardships. So this is, and it's a story that has to be told. And I really do feel this is a fight of good versus evil. And there's two tragedies of the Vietnam War. One is the war itself. And the second tragedy is the false history that's been told to the American people. And that's what we're correcting right now. The film's going to include many, many subject matters that people have never seen before. And we're going to open up a lot of eyes. And the movie's going to be very bold, very aggressive, and also very entertaining. And to me, by telling the truth of the Vietnam War, all those people who suffered and died, we can't bring them back. We can't change what happened. But by telling the true story, we can honor those people. And I think that's one of the best ways of doing it right now, because the American people do not know the truth of the Vietnam War. And one thing I really want to tell the audience is that I believe that once America knows your story, they will embrace it. They'll be shocked, and they will embrace it. And like I said, this is a big project. It's an important project, and we got wonderful people involved.
Wow. So, kính thưa quý vị, cái câu trả lời của ông Fred phải nói là nó rất là đánh động cái sự suy tư của chúng tôi, và chúng tôi thấy là ông trả lời rất là nhiều về cái câu hỏi của chúng ta, nhưng mà chúng tôi cũng xin dịch một phần rất là nhỏ trong cái câu trả lời, đó là ông cảm thấy rất là hãnh diện để làm cuốn phim này. Mặc dù là cuốn phim này sẽ không làm thay đổi lịch sử vì cuộc chiến đã xảy ra rồi, nhưng mà ông thấy những người còn sống như chúng ta phải có cái nhiệm vụ để nói lên sự thật. Đó là cái cách để mà chúng ta đem lại danh dự và đem lại trả lại cái món nợ của chúng ta, những người chiến sĩ, những người Việt Nam Cộng Hòa đã hy sinh trong cuộc chiến. Hello Fred, so the Koster Films LLC is your company. I know that is responsible for all the technical requirements to make this film. But making a film is require a lot of moving part, the writer, a ton of things. So can you tell me a little bit more on who responsible for all that, like writing, research,
Well, we have a whole team of people involved with this, not only with my company, but also other people. from the some South Vietnamese community here in America is part of the group. American veterans. We have a lot of really good organizations involved. So it's really, it's a group. It's a group project. But I'm heading the project, so it's my responsibility. If this film is no good, you can come to me.
All right.
It's my responsibility, but it's a group decision what goes into the film and how the film is made. So it's I'll be the script writer, the final script writer on it, and I'll also be the director.
Oh, okay. So thưa quý vị, ông Fred có cho chúng tôi biết là chính ông là người sẽ là cái người có trách nhiệm toàn bộ cho bộ phim này. Tức là cái nhóm làm việc của ông gồm rất nhiều công đoạn và rất nhiều người có cái khả năng về viết lách, làm nghiên cứu để mà viết ra cái bộ phim này, nhưng ông là cái người trách nhiệm cuối cùng. Và ông nói giỡn một câu là ông nói nếu mà quý vị không hài lòng với bộ phim này thì tìm Fred Koster. So one of the organizations that help you is the Vietnam Veterans for Factual History. I know this is a non-profit organization run by the Vietnam War veterans, so they're responsible for budgeting, fundraising, financial management of this project, but also they put in a lot of research and experience to this project, right?
Oh, they're absolutely amazing. They have dedicated their life to tell the truth of the Vietnam War. I mean, absolutely. I'm not Trong. It's like they work 24 hours a day. This is their passion.
Right.
And like I said, it's. But I've met so many people throughout the country who are doing that, who have dedicated their lives to tell the truth of the Vietnam War, to tell the truth of the Vietnamese people, to tell the truth of the American veterans. And they're scattered throughout the country, and wonderful people. And I guess the message I want to send to those people is that our film project, we're going to deliver to America what you've always dreamed of. And so this project is, of course, important to our groups, but it's important to America.
Right. So in this process, I know that you start and you have interviewed quite a bit of quite many Republic of Vietnam official or witnesses of this war. So what is your general observation after those interview of those folks?
Well, first of all, the history of the Vietnam War and the Vietnamese people, America does not know. And our interviews, we are collecting these stories that America has never heard before. One thing that in the American history books, the Hollywood movies, and in Ken Burns' movie. Now, Ken Burns' Vietnam War film, he had about 18 hours. He spent reported 30 million, said he spent 10 years in making it. But what he missed in his film about the Vietnam War and the Vietnamese people is shocking. First of all, I'm going to list you a few things that was not in his film, or it's not in the history books or anything.
Right.
First of all, there was no mention of the refugees that left Vietnam, at the fall of Saigon. There's no mention of the boat people.
Right.
And the according to the UN, up to 400,000 people died in the ocean. America does not know that.
Right.
Right. And it's not mentioned in Ken Burns or any of those things.
Exactly.
Nothing about the re-education camps. And also, one of the greatest humanitarian feats done in the 20th century was during South Vietnam. It was called Passage to Freedom.
Right.
And this is something that people do not know. But Tom, think about this. Okay. A country of about 13 million people was able to accept 1 million refugees.
Right.
And the South Vietnamese people, with open arms, welcomed them.
Yeah.
The government gave the farmers land to farm on.
Right.
For the fishermen, they gave them boats and brought them out to the coast. It's one of the greatest feats ever. But it's not mentioned in Ken Burns. It's not mentioned anywhere. It's so astounding. Why wouldn't that be in his film? Why wouldn't that be in the history books? You know why? Because it makes South Vietnamese look good.
Right. You talk about the passage to freedom because my father is one of those 1 million folks have decided to escape from North Vietnam to escape the communism state, to move south, but without the help of American government, he never make it. And you talk about the South Vietnamese folks, and I really appreciate it. And the more that we kind of look into Ken Burns' products, even though he spent a lot of money, he spent a lot of time, but like you said, it's the lopsided picture of the war. They're missing a lot of critical information.
Well, he by simply omitting history, he's able to rewrite it.
Right.
And also, here's something that a lot of people may not know, but the American media was bashing the South Vietnamese people and the South Vietnamese government. They were bashing them. A lot of people don't know this. The South Vietnamese government invited the United Nations to send an investigative team to their country to research the allegations by the American media.
Mm-hmm.
The UN came, okay? Mm-hmm. The UN came, they did an incredible, intensive investigation and said that these accusations by the American media of the South Vietnamese government and Arvin and all that was not true.
Right.
And all these atrocities were not happening that the American media was telling the people.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of this?
I barely heard about it, and
you know why?
Yeah,
Trump?
Because
the American government would not release that report.
Right.
They suppressed the report, would not release it to the to the public, so the public never knew it.
Right.
And this is just one of the many things that we're bringing out that the people ought to know. Another thing, Trong, is think about this. Walter Cronkite was supposedly the most trusted man in America. Mm-hmm. And he's the one that gave the report after Tet Offensive that South Vietnam is lost. It can't be won. There's no victory there.
Right.
And he said a lot of negative things.
Right.
2 weeks, Trong, 2 weeks before that speech he gave to America, he did another broadcast.
Yeah.
And he said wonderful things about the South Vietnamese military, the South Vietnamese people, and how Tet was a great victory.
Right.
And it was, and the VC was totally defeated. What they did was hopeless. They never had a chance. And all the people in South Vietnam rose together to support the government and also the military. Now, why wasn't that in Ken Burns' movie?
Right, right. Thưa quý vị, ông Fred Koster vừa chia sẻ với chúng ta là nếu quý vị xem cái phim của ông Ken Burns đó, thì quý vị thấy rằng ông cố ý bỏ ra rất nhiều cái điểm quan trọng của lịch sử, chẳng hạn như cuộc di cư vĩ đại của người miền Bắc vào miền Nam năm 1954, chẳng hạn như là hàng triệu người miền Nam đã phải bỏ nước để đi chọn tự do và có cả gần 400.000 người chết trên Biển Đông. Ông Ken Burns không nhắc lại chuyện đó, và rất nhiều việc mà ông Koster đã nói để chúng ta thấy rằng Ken Burns hoàn toàn đã, một việc làm của ông Ken Burns có thể nói là vì cái sự dối trá đó, ông đã viết lại một cái lịch sử một cách sai trái về cuộc chiến Việt Nam. Hello, Fred, and I'm so excited when you talk about those the factual information, and I wonder how this is a lot of information, and I think that it's very hard to capture all that in 90 minutes, or I don't know how much time you have for this film. But can you give us? Go ahead.
The film will be approximately 1 hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
We have to keep it under 2 hours for the theaters, because they have the shows 7 and 9 and all that, so we have to keep it under 2 hours. But that is my job. My job is to put together a film that's very effective, very concise, that will cover all these topics. And I'll tell you, Trong, it's going to be this is a big thing that we're doing, and we've gotten tremendous support from the Vietnamese community here in America. A lot of American veteran groups are behind us. We're going to make a difference, and really, that's kind of our motto, Trong, is that we're not just making a film. This is not just a project. We are going to make a difference in America and how they look at the South Vietnamese people and the Vietnam War, and also the American veterans. And I'll tell you, we got a lot of passion, but you know that. I mean, I see your passion. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. And Can you? I know that when you come to Dallas on the 24th, and you will bring a part of this film to share with us, and we're looking forward to it. And as we talk during this project, I understand that you research, you interview a lot of folks, and since this is a theatrical, but also as a documentaries, from technical point of view, how do you put all that together and make it attractive, but also that have a value as a piece of factual history?
I think that's a part of our team and how we do put it together. It's basically having the talent to be able to do that.
Right.
The technical end is really not that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of the intellectual and how to put it together to present a show in a short period of time with as much information. So on a technical end, it's not, because basically, I mean, this will be historical footage, interviews, some great music. But as I mentioned to you before, we're doing some really special things with this film that's quite different, to deliver the message. This film, every minute, every second will be informative, but it's also going to be entertaining. So, and one of the things we want to gear is to mainstream America. So this isn't just geared to the Vietnamese community, because you already know this. A lot of you already know. I think we definitely need to reach the younger generation of Vietnamese Americans, because they need to be proud of where they came from. And right now, what they're being taught is not. But our target audience is mainstream America.
Right. I'm so excited about this film. I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll see you on Saturday in Dallas. And I know before you visit Dallas, you will stop by Houston. So let me wish you all the good health, and I'm looking forward to see you on Saturday, sir.
Oh, me too. It's going to be a great time, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Kính thưa quý vị, ông Fred Koster là một trong những vị đạo diễn mà chúng tôi được gặp gỡ, và chúng tôi rất là, phải nói là rất cảm động những công việc của ông ta. Như quý vị đã biết, cái bộ phim Vietnam War của ông Ken Burns đó là đã được tài trợ của rất nhiều cái quỹ, mà ông đã gây được khoảng 30 triệu đồng để làm cuốn phim đó. Trong khi cái phim của ông Fred Koster, quý vị, thưa quý vị, ông ta làm hoàn toàn với cái tư cách của một cái người làm phim chân chính. Nhưng mà thưa quý vị, nếu chúng ta không ủng hộ, không hỗ trợ một tay vào cái công việc của ông ta, thì cái lịch sử của chính chúng ta sẽ không được biểu đạt một cách trung thực. Vì vậy chúng tôi cũng nhân dịp này, chúng tôi kêu gọi quý vị hãy cùng chúng tôi chung sức ủng hộ cái công việc của ông Fred Koster và các tổ chức đứng đằng sau ông để làm cái bộ phim lịch sử này. Fred, I really appreciate your time, and once again, good health, and we'll see you on Saturday. And you have any last thought that you want to share before we say goodbye?
Oh, I definitely do.
Okay.
First of all, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, and but for any of your audience, if you want to find out a little bit more of what we're doing, we just recently launched a website, and it's usavn.org. Again, that's usavn.org. And also, there's a contact email. So please, if you have any questions, suggestions, or please contact us. We're still in production. We've done pre-production. We're in production now. So if anybody has any stories that they'd like to share with us, please send us an email. If you have any photos, film, anything, please share it with us, because we want to present something different, not what has been presented many times before. So please contact us. And again, usavn.org.
Yeah, thank you, Fred. And kính thưa quý vị, nếu quý vị mà có, như ông Fred đã kêu gọi, nếu quý vị muốn đóng góp những cái tư liệu lịch sử, thì quý vị cứ lên cái website usavn.org, thì sẽ có một cái email để quý vị có thể gửi những cái tư liệu đó. Nhưng mà bên cạnh đó, chúng tôi cũng xin kêu gọi, nếu quý vị muốn hỗ trợ tài chính thì xin quý vị viết check cho WWFH, là cái tổ chức có trách nhiệm về kiểm soát những cái tài chính đóng góp của quý vị cho bộ phim này. Và quý vị, nếu quý vị còn ở trong cái khu vực Dallas-Fort Worth thì quý vị có thể liên hệ với đài Sài Gòn Dallas hoặc SBTN Texas để biết thêm về cái công trình này, cũng như tìm hiểu về cách nào để quý vị có thể đóng góp cho bộ phim này. Once again, Fred, good night and thanks for your time. All right.
Oh, you got it. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
See you. Thank you.
How the world and future generations remember South Vietnam depends on us. We have two choices. The first is for the South Vietnamese to tell their own story. The second is to continue letting people like Ken Burns and John Kerry tell the wrong history of the South Vietnamese people.
I think the Vietnamese people hate us, and you can sense this, you can hear it. One of them, I turned to him and I said, what would be the best thing that we could do for you? And he said, go home. And I think this is an attitude that does. I turned to one and I said, well, fine, you've got to go in there and fight because it's your country. And he said, no.
Most of the 2 million men that you often hear quoted under arms, most of whom are regional popular reconnaissance forces, which is to say a militia, and a very poor militia at that, will simply lay down their arms, if they haven't done so already, and not fight. I can cite many, many instances, sir, when, as in combat, when these men refused to fight with us, when we were taken under fire, we Americans supposedly fighting with them, and pinned down in a ditch, and they'd refuse to come in to help us. Point blank refuse. I don't believe they want to fight, sir.
Among the many omissions in Ken Burns' 18-hour Vietnam War series, he refused to tell the story of the millions of Vietnamese refugees, or the 250,000 boat people who died trying to escape, or the 1 million people imprisoned in re-education camps. Nor did he show the victories and heroism of the South Vietnamese military. Why did Burns refuse to show this broadcast announcing a great South Vietnamese victory?
First and simplest, the Viet Cong suffered a military defeat. Its missions proved suicidal. If they intended to stay in the cities as a negotiating point, they failed at that. The Vietnamese army reacted better than even its most ardent supporters had anticipated. There were no defections from its ranks, as the Viet Cong apparently had expected, and the people did not rise to support the Viet Cong as they also were believed to have expected.
There are those who want to rewrite history, to say the South Vietnamese wanted communism, and that the country of South Vietnam never existed.
I think something like 12,000 South Vietnamese soldiers desert every month. So if they're doing that, they're very successful. But the other side, the National Liberation Front, they know why they're fighting. That's why they've been fighting so well for so long. I mean, it's a people's war. It's truly a war of the people, by the people, and for the people.
It's time for the South Vietnamese to tell their own history. Help us tell the world the truth. Vietnam War. Help us tell the world the truth of the Vietnam War.